fat ass mole.
Fat face mole. You better rack off your mole.
Dumb mole. Dumb mole. Dumb mole. Dumb mole.
Shut up, you mole.
Shut up, mole.
Yeah, you mole.
Such a mole. Such a mole.
G'day, moles!
I was wondering what we were going to go with then. I was
I
like,
like that pregnant pause.
I know, I was just like,
That's quite it's quite appropriate for the episode that we have.
yeah, it is. Not pregnancy moles. Today we're talking about like hospital health doctor moles. Like, yeah.
Any kind of been put in any kind of hospital medical situation, I suppose.
Yeah, I think like, cause like they, yeah, I've had my fair share. I'm sure you have. I'm sure everyone has, really.
Yeah, I was actually talking about this on stage last night. I was born 8 weeks premature.
Oh yes, you have mentioned this on the podcast before. You
Yeah,
were preemie
I was
baby.
a little preemie.
You were like the
Just a
size
little
of
preemie.
size of a hand.
Yeah, child's hand, Chucky's hand. So yeah, like there's no superpowers with it, just a weakened immune system.
Oh yeah, true.
I had a
like-
collapsed lung as well. So remember when I was a kid, I always had this like little dent until I was maybe like 12 or 13.
Is that why you've had pneumonia the last like? 2
Yeah,
times last year?
I can like I have to keep on top of it with the owl health so I don't get
Yeah,
I don't
right.
get sick and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's kind of like thing. I was pretty good as a child. I never really had like most of my sickness or illnesses were inflicted by my brother on me and vice
Oh,
versa.
like physical injuries.
Physical injuries, which is kind of it. But I think, yeah, hospitals and doctors, I think also as well, like I've been living abroad for 10 years. So
Yeah.
medical systems in different countries are always an interesting experience.
Where's the best and worst you've encountered in which countries?
Well, I mean, the best was just recently in India. I went and I had food poisoning. Thank you, my boyfriend, for that one. And doesn't realize I have a white
I can't
stomach.
believe there was food poisoning in India. What's
Yeah.
next? Alcoholism in Ireland.
Yeah, right. Heroinism. Is that even a word? I don't know.
Heroism.
Heroism. So the best actually, yeah, recently I just went to India and I had obviously, and like they obviously deal with this a lot, like, and I never feel bad getting food poisoning in India or like any kind of sickness, because like I have a few like Indian friends from India, live in India, and they get it really bad as well sometimes.
Wow.
So like my friend was like on a drip in Bangalore recently because she
Jesus.
had something like some bad food or whatever.
That's one
so,
hell of a samosa.
no, I think it's the water. It's always the water.
Yeah.
It's always the fucking water.
I got in Mexico before and they call it Montezuma's revenge.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, forgetting,
Okay.
you know, for
Yeah.
the Spanish colonizing them.
Yeah, true. No, I think like the best one I just was recently in India and I had food poisoning and I went to the hospital and I saw a gastroenterologist, not even a
Wow.
GP, a gastroenterologist. And
Gastro Gary.
yeah, gastro. I don't know what Gary is in.
Oh, g'day, Gary.
No, in Indian, like Gary G.
If you don't know, I definitely don't know.
Gastroenterologist.
Hang
I
on, is
don't-
there like Indian equivalents, like, you know,
No,
like
there's
in
not like in like
in Latin America, Peter is Pedro.
yeah,
or, you know what I mean?
in like Italy, Pietro. No, like in no, India's very different. Like they always have beautiful like names. Like you'll ask someone like because you like it's normal there to ask what your name means.
Oh, really?
And it's always something like poetic. Like I met a woman at the airport. I was like, oh, what does your name mean? And she's like, oh, it's the first smell of fresh flower. And I was like, oh, that's specific. Okay. She's like, what does your name mean? I don't know, Eleanor. Like.
You know, Danny Boy? That. That song. You know that song Americans always sing at Irish people that's insufferable?
Yeah.
That.
But to be fair, you do have the most Irish name, but that's your fault.
It sounds like someone AI'd an Irish pub name.
Yeah.
Like Danny O'Brien.
Danny
Come on
O'Brien.
down to Danny
Come on
O'Brien's.
down to Danny O'Brien. So I went to this hospital gastroenterologist and I like obviously just a stomach bug and in and out within like 20 minutes.
Wow.
And £13 and I had all the medication I needed.
Yeah, you'd be on a trolley in Dublin for probably 2 days.
Yeah.
If they even got room for you.
Yeah.
like,
Or
if
you
it-
just have to pay private and go and like, you know, pay a shitload of money.
It's insane when you're from a country that like I don't like even using the term wealthy country because we don't see any of that wealth. Like everyone thinks Ireland is this like booming economy, but like our healthcare system is like we've got a children's hospital that has gone so over budget and it's taken so long that the
wow.
budget for it is going to exceed the cost of the build of the Burj Khalifa. And no accountability.
You could have just built
No
a Burj Khalifa.
accountability, and all politicians are like, sure, I was meant to be 400 million, it's now over $1.5 billion. Yeah.
How?
And it's in
Why?
the worst because they like contractors just took the piss and no one did anything about it, and they just kept adding on and adding on, and then they're like, well, we have to finish it now, we have to pay them, but it's all brown envelope. There's all that corruption shit going
that's
on.
like kind of.
But logistically, I drive back that way a lot from gigging down the country. And I was driving back and I'm like, they should have built a flyover to the hospital because like getting there, I'm doing a show really close to there tonight. And I had to message a friend of mine who runs another comedy club because I'm going to have to park in his driveway so I can make my second show. That's how bad the parking is. And that's at 10:30 at night.
Wow.
So can you imagine if you have a sick kid and you're trying to get in there? Like for anyone that's from Dublin listening to this or Ireland, the area where they've built it is the worst idea. It's beside Guinness. It's beside the Guinness storehouse.
Oh, wow.
Which is probably perfect for a children's hospital. You know what I mean?
Dad's like, I'm just going to drop my kid off. I'll just nip in next
Who
door.
can make a sunrise? Like,
No, I think like hospitals are always like interesting thing because like obviously nurses like as well and nurses and doctors like they must see their fair share of shit quite
like,
literally.
If you ever do Christmas shows, particularly here in Dublin, the people who go for it the hardest are always nurses and teachers. Nurses are lunatics.
Well, I mean, half of the Irish nurses are in Australia, so
yeah, you don't blame them either. Like, at least they can afford rent there. Like, it's insane.
At least I mean, probably the rent is about the same, but at least they're in Bondi, you know.
Yeah, and their salaries are like a million times better.
Yeah, I think like it's like the worst experience I've ever had is in German hospitals because they're notoriously bad.
Really?
Like, yeah,
that's surprising.
Because, especially for like immigrants, people who move to the country, like they're just not very.
And if you don't have German, they're like absolutely not.
Yeah, I remember I was in there. I had to go back in 2017. I was very sick and I was in and out of hospital because the doctor gave me and also like Germans don't like prescribe antibiotics. Like it's just not. They're like, oh, have some tea, drink some tea, and you'll be okay. And you're like, no, I have a bacterial infection.
Yeah, I need to kill the bacteria.
I need to kill the bacteria. And so they gave me this like antibiotics that was so strong that it killed everything else in my body. Right?
No way, wiped your immune system.
Yeah, and then so like I just kept getting sick. I had influenza, then I had bronchitis. Like it was just like one thing after the other. I just couldn't get well. And so I kept having, and then I had an UTI. I went back into a hospital, and I'm like lying there in like emergency, and they put me on a drip, and then like the doctor comes up, and she's like
ET.
Yeah.
Goes
I'm just like there, and I'm by myself. Like I don't know, like no one else
horrible.
comes with me. I was like so horrible. And she comes up, and she's like, yeah, so we're looking at the chart. And I'm like, yeah, like, and she's like, what is wrong? And I was like, yeah, I'm just like, there's something wrong, like a UTI is something, I don't know. And she's like, well, it seems, Miss Baum, that you have what we call grandma symptoms.
What, like looking for attention?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was like,
that is some serious passive aggression.
right? And
Grandma symptoms.
And like in the end, I ended up going to a private hospital getting blood tests and stuff. I had a zinc deficiency, which was making my immune system. And I just remember, and I walked home, I was like crying. I was like, I know I'm not crazy. I know my body.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I know I'm like, yeah.
Wow.
Grandma symptoms.
Like, in fairness, as difficult as Irish hospitals are, because like they're so overwhelmed, it's never the staff's fault. Irish nurses are they're angels.
Oh yeah,
they're angels. They're built for it. Like there's something
Yeah.
about Ireland and their nurses in particular really built for just being amazing caregivers.
Yeah.
But they're also, they've got the personas for it.
You sort of need to be
bedside manner.
like tough as well. Like so you need to have like bedside manner, but I think also as a nurse you also need to have like a weird sense
Tough,
of humor.
kind, fair,
Yeah.
a bit funny.
Yeah,
It's a good mix.
And it's so funny because I love meeting nurses. Like my aunt is one, and she's like a chain smoker. Like they're like the worst people to do with health as well. They're like, shouldn't you be not smoking? They're like, fuck it. Like, you know, you're just like fucking chain smoking.
I'll tell you a funny one. One of my oldest and best friends since I've been a teenager. He moved from Dublin down to Wicklow where we grew up.
Right.
And I had moved when I was about 9 or 10, so I went straight into secondary school.
Yeah.
And I was kind of considered a bit of a dub and a bit of a blow-in because I wasn't from there, but because I'd been there from the start of secondary school, it was kind of okay.
Yeah.
He joined when we were in like third year, so he was maybe 15. And he smoked, right? He looked rough, like he looked like a kid from Dublin. Do you know what I mean? And he was already shaven then. He looked about 30. You know, one of those dudes, like in an earring.
Yeah.
And our principal just hated him because he was like a real country
Right.
principal. And this guy was just, who's this scumbag coming down from Dublin smoking? And like my mate's like the most chilled out dude you'd ever meet. But like the principal just really, really hated him. And he was pretty awful to him, to be honest with you. And he always said, you're never going to be anything. And he's like, his surname is Kelly. He's like, you'll never be anything, Kelly. You'll never be anything. As life went on, and life takes a lot of weird twists and turns. But my friend is now a manager. He's the head nurse of a in one of the biggest private hospitals in
Oh,
Dublin.
wow.
I won't tell you for legal reasons, but he manages the entire wing. Like, he's the main, but like, he's got an amazing job. He's bought a new house. Like, he's done incredibly well,
Right.
upskilled himself. Whatever amount of years later, maybe this is probably around COVID or just maybe at the start before COVID, our old principal, because it's a private hospital, had to go in to get like a heart valve transplant.
wow.
So he was actually managing all the surgical wings, which is if you get like kidney or heart.
Turn it off. Boop.
Yeah, literally, you're right. But because everyone was masked up, which they would be anyway.
Yeah.
He'd been like semi-sedated and he was getting wheeled into the theater. He's having heart surgery. Yeah. It was
Yeah.
pretty dramatic. Like,
Yeah.
and as they're going into the theater, my mate is wheeling him in, and then like he's kind of fading out. He just grabs his mask and goes, "How are you, Sean?" And he's like, "Ah!" And then like he was already like under sedation. So like that's the last thing he saw. And I was like, listen,
If he
man,
had have died.
be nice to people on the way up because you're going to see them on the way down.
Exactly.
You know what I
He
mean?
didn't die though, did he?
No, he's grand.
Yeah,
I was
okay,
actually
fine.
drinking with him last summer.
Oh, right.
He turned up and yeah, he must be in his 80s now, the principal. He's a legend.
Amazing.
Like,
That's a fucking great story. Very proof that you never always be nice to people.
be sound, man. You never know what's coming.
Yeah, I just think like the hospitals and stuff are like, I hate hospitals because I grew up a lot in them, not for myself, but for like people around me. So it's like
Yeah.
I always feel weird, like kind of in there. And I was actually talking with my friend the other day, and I was like, oh, do you have any like stories of moles and stuff like that? And I think anything to do with like colonoscopies or
Touch wood, it's the one thing I haven't had to get done. And when my mate was training to be a nurse,
Yeah,
he was
yeah.
he used to work in this other hospital where you have to do a certain amount of time, and he kind of
yeah.
worked as a porter. And I used to call into him when I was in college, right? Because our mate worked at McDonald's down the road, so he used to give us free McDonald's.
Yeah,
we had
yeah.
quite a cool little triangle,
Yeah, yeah,
actually.
yeah.
And I worked in a pub, so if the lads called in, you might be able to give it an odd pint or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
But I went in, and my friend's job was cleaning the scopes. And anytime I go in, he used to be like, "Ah!" And he'd twist them. And they used to like, and I remember just going, him being in charge of these is terrifying. B, it was so, because these were the older ones that when you twisted a little thing, it was like, Etch-a-Sketch.
oh,
When you
yeah.
twist the two little knobs,
Oh.
but that's how they moved them with little knobs. You know what I mean? So to do all
Yeah.
now it's all electronic and it's whatever. but-
Yeah. Honestly, like I hope you never have to have one. They're like the most violated I've ever felt in my entire life.
But like, it's not even that big. Why are they so violent with it? And they lube it up
I
and
don't know.
stuff.
Yeah, they lube it up, but like I was fully sedated, but my friend has had them a lot, and like there's also been ones where like he's awake. He's had them where he's awake.
No.
And you just like bend over and they're just like up there. Like, can you
No,
imagine?
that's the noise. Like your butthole is like pulling it in, like nom 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 nom. It's not like hungry hippos.
No, it's trying to eject it the other way. But like, and then they have to take like a chunk of like the bowel to like do tests and stuff on it. And he's like, it's the most painful thing.
I always
like,
kind of thought I wanted to get a colonic, and I was like, but you just eat some fiber and that'll sort you out. Like,
Yeah.
but like, I remember watching. I was like, maybe I get a colonic. Like, they sell it to you. Oh, you'll feel amazing. and
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
but also like, you're just like inflating your stomach with shitloads of salty
Yeah.
water, and then you're just shitting it out. Like,
yeah,
it's
true.
awful.
Well, what was it like 10 years ago? I think when I was seeing like when it was at the Melbourne International Comedy Festival, and we
Yeah.
had dinner one night, and I told you this years later.
Oh yeah.
And we went out for Chinese food and like bao and like whatever. Anyway, I went home, and then I was
Glutinous rice balls. Can I have some extra glutinous rice balls, please?
I was in so much pain, Danny. And then so I ended up going to emergency, which luckily was around the corner from my house. And I went in there and I was like, like I can't, like everything's really painful and whatever. And the doctor was like, this is fucking Aussie doctors for you. He's like, you've got what we call a poo baby. Right? And I was like, what the fuck? And he's like, you're pregnant. Oh yeah, he said it like this. He's like, you're pregnant. I was like, what? He's like, with a poo baby. And I was like, okay, well, how do I get rid of said poo baby, right? And he like hands me the bunch of like hospital grade laxatives. And he goes, if you can't pass it naturally, we have to go in for a C-section.
Oh my god! So what, they go in and just grab it?
No, I think they have to like fully cut.
I actually saw one of those Instagram medical videos, where it shows you.
Oh, Jesus.
And this woman had it in her bowel there, and that's what they did.
Yeah.
And there was a cartoony,
Oh, okay.
But man, they're like, they open your stomach and then they open your bowel, and
Yeah,
it comes
yeah.
out like an American football.
Yeah, it's
Then they
huge.
sew you, but like, it's proper.
Yeah, because it's like a fecal impaction. That's what they call it, right? And so basically it's so big that like nothing
Nothing
go
can
around
pass.
it. Yeah, yeah.
Jesus, proper Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Like,
It was. I've never heard of that before, so now I always carry laxatives with me just in case it ever happens ever again. I'm like, oh my god! But that was so funny because it was
feel a
like,
bit blocked up, eats raw chicken fillet.
I was like, oh my god! I was like, I'm pregnant, mum. She's like, what? I'm like, with a poo baby. She loved it.
I spent a lot of time in hospital as a kid. I was sick as a kid, but like it's weird. My aunt's kind of airy fairy.
Yeah,
like everything
yeah.
happens
There's
for a
always one-
reason.
there's always one in
Crystals,
every
yeah, she
family,
loves
yeah.
all that. And I always kind of got on with old people, and she reckons it's because I spent so much time in hospital as a kid
right.
that they were kind of like my mates. Like I don't know what I
Yeah.
was even up to. I don't remember. Maybe it was like playing bridge or something when I was like 3 and 4, because I was in hospital non-stop from when I was born until I was about 2 or 3.
Oh, wow.
And then I got salmonella when I was 9, and I was in
From
hospital for
what?
3 months. My granny cooked chickens had just become a thing. They could buy, you know, like the ones in the bag
Yeah,
you get.
yeah.
So they only started doing them in Ireland. Like this was like a big deal, right?
Yeah.
And my granny had bought a couple of them, and she'd put them in the fridge. And one of them had been in the fridge for way longer, so she mixed them up or whatever. So she gave me chicken sandwiches going to school, but I got like the worst case of salmonella, and I was staying with my other granny who's dead now, but like I was staying with her. And I remember I was like, I don't feel good. And I remember she gave me a glass of milk, right?
Yeah.
And I remember just projectile vomiting everywhere. And then I couldn't even keep down a sip of water. Like it was really bad.
Oh wow.
And then my mum called my GP, who at the time was away. He was away on like a golf trip.
Oh,
so he
shit.
sent his son over, who like wasn't even really qualified as a doctor, or
Yeah.
if he was really new. He's like, oh yeah, he pressed my stomach, and he's like, yeah, he's got appendicitis. Now my stomach hurt because I'd been vomiting for days. Like I couldn't even take a drip of water. Like anything I tried to eat, I was
Yeah.
like, right? It's like a hamster. You know, a hamster's on the water thing, like where you're like gagging. So I went into Hollis Street Children's Hospital in Dublin. They're prepping me for surgery, like nil by mouth and all. And I'm like, they were going to take out my appendix.
Oh,
they would have killed me.
Jesus.
And there was one African doctor there. I'll never forget this guy. And he's like, has anyone examined this child? Has anyone given him an ultrasound? And everyone
Yeah.
was like, no, why would we bother? And then he sent me down. There's nothing wrong with my appendix.
Yeah.
Then I had to be sent to a place called Cherry Orchard, which is like the only fever hospital in Ireland.
Oh, wow.
And I was insane. It was
Do they think you had typhoid? or
early
something?
90s? Yeah. So I was in this like segregated thing, and loads of mad stuff happened there. Like a cleaner wiped the floor of my room, cleaned the windowsill, and then wiped my face with the same cloth. And my mother came in and caught her and was like, what are you doing? But like, no, imagine now, like you'd be a court case. But like back then, my mother's just like harden up. Like,
Yeah.
she shouldn't have done that. She should have used a different cloth. But anyway, I was in hospital for 3 months, nearly had to stay back a year in school.
Jesus.
And then after everything, I remember driving past the hospital, and I
Yeah.
hadn't really thought about it in like 30 years, because
Yeah,
it was really
yeah, yeah.
like grim time in my
Yeah.
life. It's not something you think back on. But I was doing a school workshop, and this hospital is in it's near Neilstown, and it's a rough area. Like it's a lot of kids on scramblers, like it's fairly
Yeah,
full
okay.
on. But I pulled in the car, took a selfie, because I was like Cherry Orchard Hospital, and I took a selfie,
Yeah.
sent it into my family group, going, just a little trip down memory lane. Do you know, because they all knew about it. Like,
Yeah,
you know?
of course.
So everyone in the family Facebook Messenger group like saw it and said nothing. Then my granny starts typing, and I'm like, no way, she's going to apologise. Here it comes, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, and then she just wrote, didn't do you any harm. Didn't do you any harm. I nearly died. I was in hospital for 3 months. She's like, you're alive now, aren't you? Didn't kill you.
Yeah,
I couldn't eat
that's-
chicken for years. I was traumatized.
That's such like a kind of like a grandma thing to say,
Yeah.
like, or like from that.
Sure, you're here,
generation.
aren't you?
Huh, I went through the wars. What
Yeah,
did you go through?
yeah.
Bit of salmonella.
I had 5 children, but please tell me more about your food poisoning.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's like crazy thing. We do have a mole of the week.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, we have a written one. So this is written in. So it's my mole of the week is me. I went to the hospital because I could not find my tampon. After 5 to 7 hour wait, they checked inside to realize there was nothing there.
What?
So she had a tampon, like she thought she had a tampon inside and was so panicky because if you leave a tampon
Yeah,
in
yeah,
there,
yeah, you get like toxic
and then
shock
went to
syndrome or
obviously the
whatever.
hospital and then like 5 and 7 hours, like waiting 7 hours at like waiting, and then they like look inside and it's like, no, like she's like, oh, sorry, I'm a dumb bitch, I forgot, I took it out.
Oh my god, that's really embarrassing.
Right?
Looking for like a ghost tampon.
But it happens a lot. Like I'm like, did I take it out? Did I not take it out? And you just like, you forget. And
Yeah,
then you're like,
yeah.
because then if you leave it in there, you can die of like toxic shock
Yeah, yeah.
syndrome. So like I always do that. And I literally email myself, I'm like, tampon in, tampon out. Tampon in, tampon out.
Tampon in my inbox.
Yeah, literally. It's like,
Wow.
remember you have a tampon in, take it out later. Or,
Surely there's an app. Is there an app?
Probably, but like, fuck, email's just quicker, honestly.
Yeah.
Jenny. But I'm like, if ever anyone like sees my emails or something like that, or if I've got it open, I'd just be like, you have a tampon in, take it out. Like, what the fuck is wrong with this bitch? I'm so scared I'm going to leave it in, you know?
Yeah, like men have it far easier. Do you know what I mean? Like we just have to remember to drink water and stay alive.
Yeah.
We're like cactuses, really.
I know, it's so funny, like everything, like with my boyfriend trying to like tell it, like I was telling him something the other day about like something to do with like, I don't know, periods, and he's like, what? I was like, yeah.
You guys get what?
What? No, he knows what a period is, but it was something to do with it, and he's like, oh, he's like, sorry, and I was like, yeah, fuck you.
Cool story, bro.
Yeah. I can not relate, but like, yeah, cool. No, I think like, yeah, it's always, I've had a few like places around the world that I've had to see doctors, and because when you're traveling all the time, it's always like, there's always some, like, you know, like I've had to do stuff in like the US, like US is very difficult to like, I always get nervous.
I would be terrified to have anything in the US. Like a friend of mine had to get an ambulance once because she kind of fell over when she was drunk, and it was $5,500 for the ambulance to the hospital. Like there's some things I just can't get my head around in this world, and American healthcare is one of them.
It's just crazy.
Like it's like, you know, people are in debt for the rest of their life because they're on diabetes medication or whatever it may be, and it's like even like cartels, money launderers, or like loan sharks don't put the level of interest like a lot of those drugs they make here in Ireland, like they make from Pfizer, they cost cents to make, and then they're like, yeah, that's 800 quid a month. I'm like, fuck off. Cocaine has stayed the same price since the 80s. Do you know what I mean?
No inflation. Drug dealers
exactly.
Yeah,
but they're just a different kind of drug dealer. But if those drug dealers are being sounder, you're doing something wrong.
Well, that's it. It's like the worst thing. And even like the cost of having a child in the US is insane.
Awful. It was $250,000 or something.
Yeah. I think I saw one woman and she like broke it down. She's like, this, like the hospital room
Her epidural
alone
was $3,000 or something.
Yeah, and like the hospital room was something like, I don't know, $15,000 or something like that for like the hospital room, and that's without any complications. So if anything goes wrong, but lucky her insurance paid for that, and I'm like, that's
a
crazy.
scam.
Yeah,
like, that's a complete scam. Like
Complete
that's
scam.
like something you'd hear of a new country. It's like you're playing a game of Monopoly or something like that, and you're just hyperinflating everything. It's like
this thing where
board game with no rules.
When was I there last year? And I'm like, every time I go to the US, I'm even more nervous about getting sick or anything happening. Like, because I'm just like, even though I have I have insurance, like travel insurance.
But then how are you getting the money back? And then they won't give it to you.
Like my friend fell down an escalator and like hurt her wrist in Vegas, and the ambulance came and they like demanded she pay up front, and then she would have to get that money. And it was like $4,000 or something.
Man.
And she had to pay it and then got the money back from her insurance. But like, if you don't,
but even the stress of that in between bit when you're waiting,
yeah,
like especially with like we're self-employed, like we're always waiting on people to pay us.
Yeah.
Like you're constantly in limbo, and it's really stressful. Like when you're always waiting on people, but when it's your health,
but that's why like in the US, like a lot of people, if they've like say I've seen like things where if you get shot on the street or something like that, because you know they have guns, and people will take an Uber to the hospital instead of calling an ambulance.
Like there's loads of medical tourism. It's ironic with everything that's going on in America, because every single day there's like hundreds of Americans who walk over the border at San Diego into Mexico to get dental treatment. Yeah, they walk. Yeah, they literally walk through border. They park up at the car park and they walk through because the dentist is like 100th of the price of just getting like their teeth checked or whatever, or getting a filling or whatever.
Make America great again.
Yep.
It's crazy. No, I think like, I don't know, like I've dealt with like a lot of, have you dealt with like any like hospitals or doctors in other countries like around the world?
They've been all right. I actually did a runner from a hospital in Greece. I didn't have to pay a bill or anything because we're in the EU. It was the E111 form, so you're covered under whatever. Yeah. And I think I was like 18, 19. I think I was just drinking too much, but I was getting really bad reflux. But because I'd had scarring on my lungs from when I was a kid, they thought like my lungs were banjaxed, or I'd had like there was something wrong with my heart or whatever. And they were like, oh, we need to keep you in. And I was like, I'm not staying here. Like I was working, like getting people into a bar, like having a crack. And I was like, this is shit. And it was like really grim. Yeah. And I was just sitting there. I didn't want to tell my mum because she would have freaked out. Yeah. So then I was like, I feel all right. Like it was just like really bad heartburn. But if I hadn't have told them about my heart, they wouldn't have checked. Yeah. So my mate came in and I'm like, listen, I need to go. And they're like, well, and they're like, well, we can't stop you, but like we highly recommend. So I basically just got on the back of a moped with my mate. Then we went to McDonald's and then he brought me back to Ipsos.
I love like Greek doctors. I went to Cyprus. That was a couple of years ago, and I had food poisoning as well. Seems to be a theme here,
Wow.
Danny. It says I have a very delicate stomach, and I went to this doctor. I needed to get some kind of antibiotics because it was like bad, and he's like, no, just have a Coca-Cola. He literally prescribed Coca-Cola. I'm like, this is the most Greek like doctor.
Coca-Cola, by the way, does sort you out. It does kill
does,
stuff because
yeah.
it kills everything. Like they used to use Coca-Cola to take blood off the motorways.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because
right.
but like it is hectic, but it's also it works both ways as well. Like because like they're like, oh, it's really bad for you. Yeah, I'm like, but it's also bad for the shit that's fucking you up.
Yeah, true.
It's like little mini chemo for your stomach. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, I wonder what it was like when it actually had cocaine in it. Like,
oh man, I'd 100% try that.
oh yeah.
Imagine how good that.
I'm sure someone makes it. I'm sure someone in like
Yeah.
fucking Colombia.
And
is
also,
like,
like they're like, you know what I mean? Like Coke's great for a hangover. Imagine old Coke.
oh yeah.
Like,
You just keep going.
Yeah.
Jesus. Don't sleep. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like I don't think that anywhere in Asia that I've really been that's been like, you sometimes hear about like horror stories of people.
Yeah, like I went into one in Central America, but like you can get everything over the counter. And
Yeah.
actually, I got mosquito bites, and they're getting better. But sometimes I used to get a really bad allergic reaction
Yeah,
when I was in
yeah,
Mexico,
yeah.
right? And I just went in to get some antihistamines, and then I'm like, I'll always like look up the word on like
Yeah,
on
yeah,
translate, and they'll be like, hola, tienes,
yeah.
antihistamino,
Antihistamino.
and then I say it to myself, and I'm like, and I say it like over and over and over, and I'm like, hola. And then I usually forget, and then I'm like, ah.
you just switched to English.
Yeah, she gave me the antihistamines, right? And then it was fine. We're like, whatever.
Yeah.
Then, they were like, whatever, like $1. Then she slides this business card over to me. Oh. And I look down, and it's like Cialis, Valium, steroids, like anything that you want over the counter.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, and then had a sign, we ship to the US. So you could buy a load of Valium or whatever. And if you didn't want to bring it through,
Yeah.
you could send it back to like the US or whatever.
Oh, wow.
And it was like proper, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure you shouldn't be selling this amount of prescription drugs like
Yeah.
over. Like, so you could buy like 40 Valium, 80 Valium, you could do whatever you wanted. Like,
I mean, that's the kind of good thing about like, countries like that where you can just like, there's not really
it
as
always
much red tape.
blew my mind as well. I wonder, like, you've gigged a couple of times in Bangkok as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I went to a clinic once. Oh yeah, I had to get a COVID test, and it ended up being like an HIV clinic or something like this. It was like
Do both. Do both.
I was like, it was so much fun. They had the best music. It was like decked out. Like I was like, oh, this
Class.
is like vibe.
There, it was funny. I did shows. Bangkok always blew my mind, right? Particularly if you go near Koh San Road or anywhere that's really
right.
touristy.
Yeah.
And they're like openly really pushing like Cialis and Viagra, and I'm like, you've got a huge contingent of really overweight expats who are over 65, and you're giving them like Viagra, and I'm like, how many heart attacks happen?
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? Because
Yeah.
if they're drinking and they're they're partying and they're doing whatever,
Still thinking they're like they're 30 again.
in their 30, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
they meet the ladies, and then they want to, or boys or whatever,
Lady boys or whatever,
exactly,
yeah, yeah.
and they take a little bluey to get them going. Like, that's
Have you ever taken Viagra?
once when I was 18.
Right. Yeah. I think a lot of guys do it at like that age.
It was
where
a
they
huge
just,
mistake. It was a huge mistake.
because you don't feel like aroused.
It doesn't go away then
Yeah,
forever.
yeah.
You're like, well, this is my life now. You're just like Pinocchio, and it hurts because
Yeah,
it just stays
yeah.
like, and then
Yeah,
there's nothing
yeah.
you can do. You're just banging off cupboards and stuff. And like, there's no joy in it. It's just horrible. It's just like, yeah, I don't know.
I'm
It's
so glad I don't have a penis. Like, because I would like.
me too.
No, I don't think I've had any like. Oh, I had a really bad experience in well, not bad experience, but funny experience in Berlin. Again, German doctors. Like and a lot of people have like issues with German doctors. It's like a thing.
Okay.
And with expats. But I went to a clinic because I needed it. So I obviously from Australia need to get your moles checked because.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
yeah.
We used to get that. I worked on a building site there. It was mandatory.
Yeah.
They go in with like, yeah, you have to. Though. You're out in the sun
Yeah.
all day in like 45-degree heat,
Just
shoveling
another
concrete.
fucking mole, yeah, like the actual mole, and and so like every year I still get it done. But if I'm obviously abroad or whatever, like I'm not in Australia. I don't get it done there. And so I went to this one in, I found this dermatologist. I have, one I was like worried about. So I had to get a next day appointment. And I go down to this like area of Berlin, which is like Kudamm, which is very fancy. It's all where like the injectable clinics and all this kind of stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
And who are dermatologists.
Cosmetic surgery.
Yeah. So like dermatologists, but also basically they just do Botox, right?
Right. Yeah.
So I went into this one and there's this like old German doctor there and I sit in there and I was like, yeah, I'm here for like, to check my moles. And he's like, okay. He's like, get undressed. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like it's so weird. Like if you have your moles checked, you sort of have to get down into like your underwear.
Yeah.
Because they need to check your entire body, like fully like everywhere. And so I'm just, yeah.
I need to look through the looking glass.
Yeah, but he didn't even leave the room. He's like, yeah, okay, take off your clothes. And I'm like,
Germans and nakedity go hand in hand.
yeah, I know, but it was just so weird. It's just like, anyway, so I got like undressed and like fine. And then, so everything was fine. And then he looks at me and then I noticed that he's also a Botox doctor. Like he has all these books like Botox, like everything.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh,
Botox for dummies. I can't believe it's not Botox.
Yeah. And so I look at him and I was like, oh, he's like, is there anything I can help you with? And I was like, oh, do you do Botox? Because I'm like I'm at that point in my 37. I'm kind of interested. I'm like, do I get it? Do I not?
You want to dabble?
Like,
yeah.
Yeah, but I'm like, oh, I don't know. Like I like having a face that hasn't been touched like that. But also I'm like,
yeah, but also like I wouldn't bother. But like it's like you need your expressions for your comedy.
Exactly.
People need to see your face move. If you're like, guys, I was so pissed off.
But I do. Sometimes you do see a comic. There is some female comics that do have like a shitload of filler, and like their face doesn't move, and you're like, oh, okay. And I'm not that comic. Like I'm not a straight faced like kind of deadpan. But I go in there and I was like, oh, do you do Botox? And he's like, and then he finally like lit up. The whole day he was just like, and then I was like, do you Botox? And he's like, yes. And I was like, okay.
I've been waiting for you to ask this question for
and then
half an hour.
then he just studies my face, and he has like a piece of paper with like a a face on it, a blank face, and then he's like fucking sketching the Mona Lisa. He's like yeah this, okay yeah and he's like, Eleanor, you have a very sad face. I was like, I'm a fucking comedian. Like, what the fuck?
Like, you don't, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I was like, okay, that doesn't make sense.
What does he say to people who do?
I know, right? Or
you have a tragic face.
You have a tragic face. You have a horrendous face. And then he was like, yeah. And I was like, but I'm a comedian. Like, it can't be, too frozen. And he's like, yeah, okay. So. And he's like, yeah, so we're just, and here. And I was like, oh, okay, let me think about it. And then I was like, oh, and how much will it be? And he just walks past me as he walks out and he's like, 350 euro. I was like, what a cunt. But I remember when I was in there.
Snake oil salesman.
Yeah, like just 350 euro. And I saw on the bookshelf was a photo of Matt Damon, right? And it was like, dear Dr. Ritman.
Wait, does Matt Damon's tux?
Yeah, and he was like, thank you so much for all your help or something like that. Love Matt Damon. And I was like, okay. And I was like, Matt Damon's face looks terrible. And I was like, then I was like, you know what? I'm not going like this.
Did he give you the regular meds?
No, I didn't get anything. Like from him, I didn't get anything. But I was just like, oh god.
Just went in for a preemptive Botox trial.
I went in for a mole check and came out with plastic face.
That's a good way. So be wary, the mole checkers. They may turn out to be Botox highwaymen.
Grandma symptoms. Just German doctors in general. But yeah, this is thank you guys so much for listening to Mole Patrol podcast. We have some live shows coming up soon, so please like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, and please leave us a review and like us on Spotify because it really helps us get to the next level of in Spotify recommendations.
Yeah, and also keep those moles coming in thick and fast. We massively appreciate them as well. And we're going to have some really exciting footage coming from our live shows as well, where we'll have some actual moles in the show contributing, which we're super, super excited about.
Super excited about. But thanks so much.
Your health is your wealth. Until next time, Mole. See you later.
See you later, Moles.